semana o qué hemos hecho de nuevo, cómo va el trabajo. Luego hacemos las actividades del libro. Vemos si podemos hacer un juguetito nuevo para Máximo. A veces ella lo evalúa, cómo está su sentido motriz, qué ha aprendido de nuevo, nuevas palabras, y jugamos un ratito y conversamos.
A mí personalmente también me ayudó mucho a obtener mi licencia a conducir, que era un objetivo que teníamos en cuanto a la familia,
sí.
para poder estar tranquilos, así que encuentro que ha sido fundamental el apoyo.
El objetivo del programa es que las familias estén bien, y que las familias estén bien significa niños felices, niños sanos, y eso en un futuro es adultos sanos y un mundo mejor. Entonces está bueno.
She has made me feel like I'm important and I can go at my own pace, and that's all you need sometimes when you're feeling like you got nobody.
It was helpful to have somebody there kind of holding my hand and guiding me and letting me know this is kind of the normal. It felt like I was becoming a new mom, so it was very interesting and helpful, very, very helpful.
You know, there was that self-conscious part of me, like, will I be accepted even though I'm not perfect?
What I like the most is that she really listens.
The support that she gives me is special because she does it with love, and it's just natural, you know. That's all I could say. It just feels like somebody that I've known since I was little.
You know, I said to Jeanette, Jeanette, you're supposed to be with me for 5 years. Jeanette said, yeah, I know, I'm going to be with you guys for 5 years. That's when I said, well, I guess I can trust her. She's going to be with us for 5 years.
Yo creo que quizás pasó como a la segunda visita o algo así, como que ya nos presentamos formalmente. Y luego ya creo que en la segunda visita estaba como todo más tranquilo, como muy, como que el ambiente era muy familiar. Entonces yo me sentí muy cómoda.
I felt like she cared for Sparrow too, and Sparrow really enjoyed it. Yeah, she knew when Gabby came we were going to be making something or learning something, and she'd instantly start digging through Gabby's bags to find out what activity we were going to do.
Not only did we get the assistance with this program, but we also made a really good friend. I'm happy to call Gabby our friend.
I think the relationship that we've built has been she's a part of the family.
When I first realized that I was going to be a parent, I was super scared. After 2 or 3 weeks of meeting in the home visiting program, I was totally comfortable with the fact that I was going to have a baby. Yes, I was still scared, but at the same time, I felt like I had some sense of strength behind me.
If I didn't have those resources that Jeanette provided me, I think it would be harder now.
I got into the program and I realized, like, oh, this is nice. And now look at me, I work at a family resource center with parents and families, all this stuff.
I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to meet my home visitor, because without her, I think that I would be 10 steps behind from where I'm at right now.
Pero pues aquí pues ya los enseñan un poquito más cosas que uno no sabía. Como cómo cuidarla, cómo desarrollarla, cómo educarla, y pues es algo bien, porque pues cosas que yo no sabía, pues ya usted nos las dijo y todo como consejos, y pues muchas cosas que se aprendieron.
I don't know what's normal for a 22-month-old baby or an 18-month-old baby, you know. When we get together, we usually discuss and get some progress made with the baby. It makes me feel comfortable, and I associate my parenting with her, my home visitor, telling me, yeah, this is going great.
So it's nice to know where they're at, what stage they're at for every parent, and also to give, again, your children that head start in education.
If I had any questions with her, just call her up on the phone. You know, it was very relatable, very personal. And, you know, with her getting to know my kids, you know, she got to kind of help guide me along the way. I mean, there were so many cool things that I've learned.
I went from a very rough type of life. I was homeless, and she was able to help me get into school, and I actually have enough credits to graduate with a business degree right now.
I think I really want to mention just that I'm grateful that I took advantage, because
welcome to the April 20th, 2023 meeting of the Mendocino County Planning Commission. I'm going to call to order today's meeting. Today's meeting is a hybrid meeting of the Planning Commission with participants both in person and digitally. The public may participate digitally in meetings by sending comments to pbscommissions@mendocinocounty.org or orally via telecomment in lieu of personal attendance. All public comment will be made available to commissioners, staff, and the general public after processing by staff, and can be viewed as attachments to this meeting agenda on the Planning Commission agenda page. To submit public comments via telecomment, please use the telecomment form found at www.mendocinocounty.org/government/planning-building-services/meeting-agendas. Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Ramos,
Here.
Commissioner Purnell,
Here?
and Vice Chair Pollen.
Here. Do we have determination of legal notice?
Legal notice has been determined on each matter.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, director's report. Do any directors have any? Does the director have any items for today?
Thank you, Julia Krog, Planning and Building Services Director. So I do have just a minor update for you. As you are likely aware, on April 11th, the Board of Supervisors heard the Bella Vista subdivision, which you had previously heard in March, and they did approve that project with some modified conditions, including modifications to the landscaping plan and ensuring that there were larger sidewalks as well as part of the development. But that has been approved and the notice of determination has been filed. And then secondarily, I believe I sent you all an email regarding this as well, but on April 25th, the Board of Supervisors will hear the appeal of the Planning Commission resolution regarding the vacation home or short-term rentals in an entire dwelling unit and that interpretation that was done back in November of 2022. So that concludes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions from commissioners? Thank you, Director Krog. Agenda item number 4, matters from the public, public expression. Members of the public are welcome to address the Planning Commission on items not listed on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is prohibited by law from taking action on matters not on the agenda. Individuals wishing to address the Planning Commission under matters from the public may do so via email or Zoom. For information on each of these methods, call the Planning and Building Department at 707-234-6650 or visit www.mendocinocounty.org/government/planning-building-services/meeting-agendas. All correspondence will be attached to the item and made available online on the Planning Commission agenda page. If any members of the public logged into the Zoom meeting wish to speak under public expression and have not completed the telecomment form, please use the raise hand feature to allow staff to add you to the meeting. Instructions for using the raise hand feature are found on the agenda for this meeting. Clerk, do we have any requests for telecomment under public expression?
I have no written correspondence. Jocelyn is on Zoom.
Any on the Zoom?
I don't have any members of the public on Zoom requesting to be here for public comment.
Great. And since we actually have people in public, anyone in the audience wishing to speak on items not currently on the agenda? All right, I will close the public comment period then. Item number 5 is the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes any minutes that we need to approve. I will invite a motion from a commissioner to approve the consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar and the draft Planning Commission meeting minutes from March 9th, 2023.
I will second.
Great.
Commissioner Ramos.
Yes.
Commissioner Purnell.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pollen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We are going to reorder the items as they appear today. Item 6B will become item 6A, since I imagine most of the public is here for that item. So do we need to do anything specifically to amend the agenda in that way?
Deputy County Counsel Matthew Kudrowski. We wouldn't be re-lettering them. We're just going to hear 6B first.
Okay, great. We will be hearing 6B first. Commissioner Ramos?
Yes, sorry. Prior to hearing 6B, I would just like to say that as a real estate agent who works with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Wine Country Group, we have an agreement to represent a property within the project location. So unfortunately, I have to recuse myself from this agenda item.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, may I ask a question?
You may.
Okay, Deputy County Counsel, where does that leave us with our vote for today with 2 commissioners here on this item?
Deputy County Counsel Matthew Gadrowski, as of right now, the commission has lost quorum on this item, and there's no method we can do a continuance with only 2 members of the commission. So this item will have to be renoticed. That will be remailed and republished for a future meeting date, and that's all we can do.
And no discussion on it?
No discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And apologies to people that came in here today. We thought we had additional commissioners that were going to be here. Chair Wiedemann was injured last minute and could not make it today. So unfortunately, we are unable to hear this item today, but it will be renoticed, and we hope to see you all in here again next time. All right. We're going to move on to item 6A. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take item 6A from the regular calendar. This is case number MS_2021-0006, a minor subdivision of a 4.34 acre parcel into 2 parcels. Parcel 1 would be 3.09 acres, while parcel 2 would be 1.25 acres. I will open the public hearing and announce the hearing procedures. Sorry, this is my first time chairing a meeting, so I'm reading the script here. Clerk, has there been any correspondence or telephone calls received on this item?
Yeah, I didn't get any correspondence on this matter at all.
Okay, great. I will now ask for staff's presentation on this item.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Keith Gronendijk, staff planner with Mendocino County. I guess I should mention the location of the project is 1.62 miles northwest of Calpella Town Center, lying east of Uba Drive, 1,034 feet northwest of its intersection with Finney Road, located at 7825 Uba Drive, Redwood Valley, assessors parcel number 165-040-20. There is an existing single-family residential unit on the parcel, along with a garage, a shop, and assorted shed structures. The topography of the parcel is flat with small rolling hills behind the property, interspersed with oak woodland vegetation. Forsyth Creek runs along the rear property line to the northeast. The elevation of the parcel varies from a high of 715 feet to a low of 690 feet above sea level. Approximately 3/4 of the property is encumbered by either a floodway overlay or other flood zone, but it appears, based on the Mendocino County GIS data mapping, that the existing residence, shop, and garage are not located within these zones. This project was found to be consistent with the Mendocino County General Plan, the zoning ordinance, and the Ukiah Valley Area Plan. And an initial study was completed for the projects in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and no significant impacts were identified. Therefore, a negative declaration was prepared. It was noted that future development could have some impacts. However, these were considered to be less than significant. Staff recommends by resolution adopt a negative declaration and grant minor subdivision MS 2021-0006 as proposed by the applicant based on the facts and findings and subject to the conditions of approval contained in Exhibit A of the resolution. There have been some minor changes to conditions of approval after discussions with environmental health, and Senior Planner Russ Ford can detail that if you have any questions about them. That concludes my presentation. I can entertain any questions.
Thank you, staff. Any questions from the commission?
Keith, did I understand correctly that there are changes being proposed to the environmental health conditions?
Correct.
And that's something that different from what's in our packet?
Russ Ford can address that.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. There was just one minor change. In condition 12, originally it was applied to parcels 1 and 2, and that was removed to just apply to parcel 2. That was the environmental health change, and then condition 24 was a DOT condition that was later removed at their request.
Question for you, Russ. Do we know why 24 is recommended to be struck? Just wasn't determined necessary.
Yeah, I would defer to transportation. Apparently, they determined that condition was not required.
Okay.
Commissioner Ramos, do you have any questions? A couple quick questions. I noted in the packet, it stated that the existing parcel is served by an existing well that is on the site. Am I reading that correctly?
Correct. There is an existing well for the residents and the garage, or whatever the case may be.
And then I noted that it said that the new parcel would be served by Redwood Valley Water District. So is there infrastructure that it's in place, and would we require a will serve letter from Redwood Valley Water to say that they would be able to serve this new parcel if it is created?
Condition 17 of the resolution, 17B, I believe, asks for that will serve letter. It's existing infrastructure, so I believe the district does not consider it a new connection, and they already believe it's served. I think that the owner is also here, if
Okay.
you'd like comments from them.
Great, I can ask the applicant that same question. And then the final question, and then, again, this might be more appropriate to the applicant, but just in looking at the map, the tentative map as drawn, the one is prepared by Franz Engineering, I'm just curious as to where a structure would be built on parcel 2 that is not inside the floodplain, and just, it's a fairly narrow lot. I'm just curious, has there been an assessment made in terms of where a building could be built that wouldn't be in conflict with any of the setback requirements?
Yeah, it would have to be pretty close to where the existing structure is on the proposed parcel 2, because the floodway comes up quite a ways.
Right.
But there should be sufficient room to put a structure there along with meeting setbacks from property lines.
All right, great. Thank you. That's all for me. But now I have more. Let's see. The application presentation. Is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to speak? Please come on up and state your name for the record, please.
Nave. Ron couldn't be here today.
Can you just make sure you speak into the microphone so the people that are not in the room can hear
Ron
you?
couldn't be here today. Basically, easements are already there. There's property adjoining to this property that has easements in it. The 40-foot easements are already recorded. This property's been divided years ago, so it meets pretty much all the requirements you're saying there. The well was put in 2012 or 2013 when we had the drought. It's more than an efficient well. It does about 50 gallons a minute. Other than that, I just want to, where the structure, if there's going to be any structure built, it'd be on the existing structure that's there. In other words, that'll have to be tore down and a structure will be put on that same. There is places that can be used and stay out of the flood zone, but it's not prohibited. I mean, as far as where we have the septic planned, the neighbor has a house at the same elevation as our septic, basically, but we're going to be probably, I don't know, 15 feet tall, higher in elevation than the neighbor is actually built there. So all that requirement meets. All the setbacks are already in place as far as the buildings go. And it'd be on the same, probably the same footprint as the existing building, so should be all sufficient. I don't know if you guys got any questions or.
Well, again, just a question about the water. So you're saying the well is producing well. Is it anticipated that that well would be utilized by both parcels, or that this new parcel would?
Yes and no. It would probably be helped for maybe outdoor irrigation. That would be the only thing. But Redwood Valley water hookup would probably be used for the other parcel 2. Okay. But, you know, I don't know what the cost of water, we want to use that for outside hookup, you know what I mean? That would probably be a joint venture there, you know, on that well, just for outside use, for irrigation and plants and whatever.
Okay. But you're comfortable with the condition 17 that you would need to have a will serve letter provided?
Which one was that, sir?
This is condition number 17 of approval that requires that you should submit to the Division of Environmental Health a letter from the district stating that water and or sewer services have been installed to satisfaction.
The water's been installed.
Right.
The water's been installed. There isn't, the sewer would be a septic, so
right, obviously.
There's no county sewer out there.
Right.
So that could be actually stricken from the deal because that doesn't exist and not even in the area.
Right. But you are confident that you would be able to get a will serve letter saying that I guess I'm curious as to whether or not this would be determined to be a new hookup or not.
It's not a new hookup. It won't be a new hookup, no.
Okay.
It'll be an existing hookup. We use both at our current house now.
Okay.
You know, one for outside, one for inside use.
Okay.
You know, that's what we're using now because, and then we'll just switch it over to, if we build a house over there, we'll take the Redwood Valley hookup and put over there and still joint venture the well. Okay. Because the well is just basically for outside use. That's the only reason I put it in.
Okay. A question for County Council. Do we need to have any conditions that would necessitate the sharing of that well into this, or that's a purely civil matter, or?
Deputy County Council Matthew Kudrowski, since it's not being relied upon for the creation of the parcel, I think any future agreement that these landowner may make with a separate owner of the property, I think would be something in the future. The concern would be is if that well was needed for the water on that property going forward, and it appears that it is not.
Great, thank you. That's all my questions for the applicant. Any other commissioners have any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. All right, I will now invite public comment on this item. We'll start with public comment in the room, and then we'll move to Zoom. Anyone in the room wishing to speak on this item? Not seeing anyone, we'll move to Zoom. Is there anyone on the Zoom that is wishing to speak on this item right now?
I don't have any members of the public on Zoom wishing to speak on this item.
Okay. And have we received any other requests for telecomment?
I haven't received anything.
Okay, thank you. I will then close the public comment. Staff, do you have any final remarks?
Keith Dronadek, planner with Mendocino County. No, I have no other remarks.
Okay, thank you. Applicant, do you have any final remarks to make? Okay. Any additional questions or comments from the commission? Okay. We'll close the public hearing at this time. The matters before the Planning Commission. I will invite a motion from the commission.
Perfect. I make a motion to adopt a negative declaration and grant minor subdivision to MS underscore 2021-0006 as proposed by the applicant based on the facts and findings and subjects to the condition of approval contained in Exhibit A of the resolution.
Excuse me, this Deputy County Counsel Matthew Gadrowski briefly. That was by resolution, just to confirm.
By resolution.
And the resolution as amended today. Yes.
As amended.
Is that motion clear? Great. Do we have a second?
So I'll second.
Commissioner Purnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pollen?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Agenda item number 7, matters from staff. Does staff have any matters for us today?
Julia Krog, Planning and Building Services Director. I don't have any additional matters from staff. What we had discussed at the last Planning Commission meeting was providing that update on where the short-term rental item was, so I did that under the director's report, but if you have any additional questions for me, I'm certainly available.
Any questions for staff?
Just the same question about if you have a status from the consultants on the zoning ordinance and our timeline in particular.
Thank you. So I have a status update on when staff is expecting our second administrative draft, which we are expecting it in the early part of this next month in May. They didn't give me an exact day, but it is going to be during the first 2 weeks in May. And then we will be, hopefully, if everything looks good, we'll be looking at forecasting Planning Commission hearing dates.
Great, thank you. And follow-up question to that. This was grant funded, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. LEAP grant funding.
LEAP grant funding, and so what is the time frame by which this needs to be completed? I'm just wondering how much of a crunch we may wind up in.
Absolutely. We're actually confirming with our grants division that obtained that grant on the exact timeline, and I can certainly report back on that in the near future here. But we believe we are still okay right now in terms of the grant timeline. It won't require that the commission has to get through it in, like one meeting like has happened at some instances. But we are confirming, and I'll have a better answer for you in the very near future.
Great. Thank you, Director Krog.
All right. Item 8, matters from the commission. Do any commissioners have any additional questions or comments? All right. Well, then we'll move to item number 9, adjournment. I would invite a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Do we need to take all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.